welcome to episode number 13 of the Nintendo Jump Podcast. We're a weekly discussion podcast created for Nintendo gamers by Nintendo gamers. It is the week of September 17, 2018. I am Sergio, and today I am once again joined by Daryl.
Hey everyone.
And by Kevin.
What's good, everybody?
What's up, you guys? It's number 13. How are you guys doing?
I feel lucky.
Nice. That's a nice counter.
Well, 13 is a character from the hit show House back in the day. A very
that's
attractive.
right.
That's right. A very attractive actress by the name of Olivia Wilde played that character. Boom. She's pretty. That's a shout out to Olivia Wilde. That's all I gotta say.
Nice. And it just so happens, this is the music episode that we have it all been waiting for.
Yay!
A bunch of F-Zero music, right? Yeah, right. No. I'm just kidding. Maybe, right? Maybe. I don't know. I don't
Maybe,
know.
yeah.
Oh well.
Hey, only time will tell.
That's right. Shout out to F-Zero.
Only one of us knows.
That's right.
DJ DW in the house.
Boom. Boom.
Yes, they're at least privy to what songs we're going to be playing. These are mostly submitted by you, our listeners. We also selected a couple of our choices, and we're going to just mix it all in. And for the songs that we don't know, we're actually going to be guessing. So that would be myself and Kevin.
Yep, so I'm the only one who has the actual list, so should be a fun time.
Yeah. Here we go. I'm ready to go for some music trivia. Ba-bam.
Okay, here we go. First track.
Whoa.
All right, that is a way to start a show, huh?
Yeah, man. It feels very carnival-y and like in a space world sort of like days. Like you're in a dream, but it's like a carnival world, and it feels very I feel like Kirby like. I feel very Kirby like. I don't know. I've never heard the song before, so I don't know, but
What about you, Sergio? Have you heard this one?
I think I do. Is it Paper Mario, the Thousand-Year Door?
Yes, it is.
whoa,
Alright.
yo, no way. That's pretty cool.
So this was actually a suggestion from Mal Hillian on Twitter. He actually sent in a ton of songs, so his name will pop up a couple times. But I really, really liked this song, and it's actually featured in a YouTube video that I really like. It's by a channel called 8-Bit Music Theory.
Okay.
So this guy is actually trying to explain the music theory behind video game music, which is
Oh wow.
really fascinating, even if you don't understand the,
Yeah,
Right.
the
that's pretty
material,
sick.
which I do not. But he has a video that actually features this song a little bit in it too, called "Chromatic Notes Are Goofy in Paper Mario."
Mm.
I bring that up only to say that this is my favorite YouTube comment of all time. Mary Jane Daniel, out of Lives, comments, "Chromaticism, the same thing that makes death metal bands sound brutally heavy, is also what makes Mario music sound adorably derpy."
There
So,
we go.
so if you don't know, and I didn't know before watching this video, so please don't feel bad.
No
A
worries.
chromatic note is basically one that doesn't fit within the exact chord, and it's just all over that song. Like there's notes that really don't fit in the overall melody, but they do, and what it leads to is actually a sound. It sounds like a carnival. So I mean, Kevin, you hit it right on the nose.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's just if you're not playing notes within the melody, usually you'll get some sort of dissonance. But the fact that it works well in this case, that's why I thought, oh, like Carnival, because it's like all over the place, and it just works well together. So
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fantastic game too. If you haven't played it, it's among my favorites.
All right. Next track.
here we go.
Nice.
Dang.
So this turns out to be one of my picks. So I know what it is. Kevin, do you know
Oh.
what it is?
I don't know what it is, but I mean, yo, is it from a Mario game? Or you know what I think? I feel like it's like I hear clocks, I hear like teacups, teapots, like it feels like a castle setting within like a town where,
Ah.
everyone's like lolly jolly and just I don't know, and there's like this big clock or this big tower with a clock. I don't know. I'm just trying to like picture in my mind because when I think about these kind of songs, I think about like just the environment and.
I
But
mean,
is
you're
it a Mario
shockingly close.
I mean, is it
Yeah.
a Mario song? Because like I mean, this sounds like a Mario song, but
Yes,
I
it
maybe.
is.
Oh shoot, yo, what is it though?
It's the first Paper Mario.
Oh
Hey.
man, a game that I should play.
It's the theme from Toad Town. So the fact that you're
Oh.
hearing like signs of life and such, like kind of towny in that was a extremely good pull. Like that's awesome.
Oh, thanks. I'll-
So yeah, I wanted to lump these together, kind of because you can hear the evolution of the Paper Mario soundtrack, which is kind of interesting. Like I felt like the songs from the original Paper Mario actually sound more like a Mario game to me, whereas Thousand Year Door
yes.
kind of went off the deep end with with like just absolutely crazy tracks. They both have amazing soundtracks, like really really good,
Yes.
Yeah.
top to
it's-
bottom. Both of these games were developed by Intelligent Systems and published by Nintendo, of course, but really good games.
and games that I should be playing, which I haven't played before, so that's some homework for me. But yeah, I mean, just the way this tune is constructed, from top to bottom, like it's just I feel like it'll be a nice time to play like when I'm having tea or like while I'm playing a Paper Mario game. So I mean,
Nah,
yeah,
if you can find a copy or dig out your GameCube or 64 or whatever, I really do recommend both of these games.
yeah,
Both of the original Paper Marios are quite good
for
and
sure,
and
for
maybe
sure.
even a little overlooked at the time, but I feel like people are swinging back on really liking them. So it's good to see. I kind of missed this series as it was,
Yes,
but
right.
we still have those games, so it's great.
Sounds good.
Okay, next track.
Man, oh man. I know what that tune is, but you guys know what that tune is?
Yes, I definitely do. It's a
You
classic.
do. It is a classic.
All right, what is it?
Mm. It is Secret of the Forest in the Chrono Trigger game. Mm-mm-mm. It
Nice.
is it's one of my favorites. A lot of things come from that tune. There's a juxtaposition between mysterious and danger, and just um, it's a back and forth of just like the forest is slow, like silently dancing, and just there's a lot of things to talk about this in terms of the influences. I think of the forest. I think of the the pond in the middle of a forest, even though that wasn't in the game. um, just like just like a shroud, like a fog that just
Hmm.
rolls in and just makes you feel very uncomfortable but comfortable at the same time. It's really hard for me to explain, but that's what I get from it. Yeah.
No, it's definitely atmospheric, and I've got a few kind of uh, coming up soon that really do set the atmosphere almost by themselves, and it's really neat to hear. Now, this was developed and published by Square on the Super Nintendo, and the
Hmm.
fact that those sounds are coming out of the Super Nintendo chip is just amazing. Like
Yeah.
it, most of the other games on that platform don't sound like that at all. and I had to, in the effort of trying to get as many songs as possible, I had to cut most of these songs at a single loop. A few of them kind of feel criminal to do that, and that's one that you could just run for probably a couple hours. But
Yeah,
it's
no, I appreciate that because then that one part where it's like where just that solo piano goes boom, 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 bum 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 bum. Like that is
Yep.
just it's
Right.
beautiful. But yeah, that was one of my picks.
All right.
Nice. Next track.
Speaking of creating an atmosphere,
Oh man, man.
All right. This was actually my suggestion. Do either of you have a
Ooh.
guess?
I don't have a like specific guess. I mean, it sounds like you're in a town and there's a lot of culture going on, like in the culture district and the folklore environment. So I would guess it's either an RPG. I can also see it on a Zelda, specifically Breath of the Wild.
I think to add on that, I feel like there's like a desert, a highland where, there's like right, like what Sergio said, like a certain type of culture, more desert because there's a certain instrument that just screams desert.
Hmm.
I think, and it's that string instrument, and which I think might be a guitar, but. It might be I think it's a Zelda game. I think it's a Zelda game.
You guys. So I'm actually a little shocked. You guys are so on the nose on this one, and it's amazing what you can actually pull from the music. So this is actually from Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, and you guys knew I was gonna throw a
Oh,
song from that
Oh
game on
man,
this list.
yeah, that
Uh,
was good.
it's actually in the village of the Selkies, which is right outside of the desert. So I mean,
Oh
like,
man.
oh
you
wow.
guys are very, very, very close, and that's amazing. So
Oh
I
man.
mentioned, I mentioned last episode that this is one of my all-time favorite game soundtracks, and the reason it is that the composer actually went out of her way to create this kind of world music vibe to it, and she did that by taking a lot of instruments that may not have even come from the same cultures but putting them together, like
Hmm.
these Celtic or even African drums with like old lutes and piccolos and pan flutes and all sorts of things in this soundtrack to really give it this culture that almost feels like it would fit in a Lord of the Rings movie.
Yeah, exactly.
it,
Yeah.
the,
Yeah.
there's a lot there. She also used like really crazy time signatures. So that song is actually in 7/8, which is a very
Interesting.
Celtic time signature that you don't hear very often. So very, very smart composing, and the whole game is just filled with songs like kind of
Cool.
like that for different music for different instruments, pretty much. So that was actually developed by the Game Designers Studio and published by Nintendo on the GameCube, and then it's being republished by Square Enix on the Switch. So in
Whoa.
2019, so super exciting.
Definitely have to pick it up. And man, with music like that, I mean, how can you not play the game?
It does a lot for the game when you're playing it and you have this music surrounding you. It's kind of the same thing I was saying about Chrono Trigger. Like the
Right,
music
yeah.
does a lot for the game in setting the
Mm.
world as it is, and it's a cool game anyway. It kind of goes that extra mile.
Nice.
So the next game is actually, we got a lot of suggestions for this particular game, so I actually included 2 songs. They're back to back. So let's go ahead and play the next 2.
Let's go.
Next track. Next track. Man, I got some huge untitled goosebumps right now.
Oh man, man, that is 2 songs that are like total contrasts of each other.
I find it interesting that the instrumentation of it is actually kind of similar to Crystal Chronicles, considering that,
Yeah.
not to spoil anything, they released around the same time.
Oh
So, do you guys have a guess on what this game might be?
man,
Yes, definitely. I know. And I'm pretty sure Kevin knows.
I actually don't. I don't think I. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm
Oh.
drawing a blank.
Really?
Do 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 do. Oh man, you know what? I feel like the second song, because it feels like the second song is more like you're on a horse and you're just about to traverse around the region, and then like you're in this very. Is it a Zelda game? I feel like it is, but I don't. I think I'm wrong though. I think
Okay,
I'm wrong.
it is a Zelda game. It's a Zelda.
Is it? I mean, God.
All right. Sergio, just spoil it for him.
It's either Ocarina's Time or Majora's Mask, but I'm just throwing in a guess. I don't think
It
so.
is neither of those games.
Okay.
It is Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker.
Oh my God! How can I miss that? Holy shoot!
Developed by Nintendo EAD, published by Nintendo. The first song in particular is actually it's half of the title theme in the game,
Mhm.
but it's done very, very differently. It's actually
okay.
when Medley awakens as a sage. It's called Medley's Prayer.
Yes.
It actually means a lot to me personally because, The Wind Waker is one of my all-time favorite games, and to further prove that point, we have, one of the most amazing dogs in the world, and I named my dog Medley. So
No.
when I hear that song, or I actually learned how to play it on guitar, it always makes me think of her. So I like it on the list, even though I'm not the one who suggested it. Actually, it was suggested
nice.
by Go Bexzilla. And then the second song is actually the Mulgara Battle, which is the giant sandworm.
Yes.
That was suggested by
Oh,
Malhelion
okay.
again.
Oh man. Well, at least I guessed the Zelda part.
Yeah, a little less on the nose that time.
A little less, yeah.
Yeah, and these two are definitely big pieces, not just of Wind Waker, but also of Zelda as a whole. These two are part of the Zelda concerts, the official Zelda concerts, the
Mhm.
symphonic ones.
Ooh.
If you've been able to go, these are both in it.
Yeah, I did
Okay.
see one of those. It was actually a very good time.
Mm.
The coolest thing there, actually, we picked up a book of sheet music, so you can actually play some of the songs on the
Oh,
piano, or on whatever you
Sweet.
can play sheet
right.
music with. It's a very cool thing.
It's
Nice.
always nice to have those. Like I did the same thing with like, well, even though I didn't really play the game, but I play. I mean, with Final Fantasy X, I had like a sheet music book of that, and it was awesome to learn tunes from that. So, but yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
Next track. So this
Mm.
was one of my picks. Kevin, what does it sound like to you?
It sounds like you're in another world and you're in the ruins, and then like just shooting stars just come and land on the ground, and then
Oh,
um, it just there's like this foray of holes you have to jump over to like avoid getting avoid losing a life. I don't know. Oh man,
Yes.
it's like I want to say it's Super Mario Galaxy 1 or 2. I really that was my this
hmm.
is not that's my guess, but I think I'm pretty sure I'm wrong because like I've only played one, the first one, but like uh I didn't play two, but I totally forgot the music, but it just makes me it reminds me of Super Mario Galaxy, but anyway.
Again, you're really not that far off.
Oh man.
The things I wanted to point out, I'm honestly not sure if I got that on a loop or not, because it's that song
Hmm.
really doesn't. The overall piano follows the format throughout the entire song, but all the other stuff that they add into it is like really variable in timing and when they add it in, especially that kind of electronic noise and then the piano going to
Mm.
.
Yeah, it's a nice touch.
What I hear, and I actually play the game, so I'm a little
Hmm.
nostalgic about it. But what I hear is that little piano going up, like I just did, it kind of sounds like bubbles underwater, which I think is what it's
Right.
trying to convey. So Sergio, what
Hmm.
is this game?
So this is Metroid Prime, the first one.
Oh man.
Yeah, specifically the downed frigate Orphean track,
Okay.
which is talk about an atmosphere. Wow.
I have not played that game yet, so that is on me.
Right, and you actually mentioned that it feels to you like you're in a different world. You definitely are. It's the part of the game that is underwater, the only one. And when you get to that part and you hear this music, everything is so different from what you've been doing, which is they're exploring the planet, which is sort of like a more outer space kind of feeling. All of a sudden you're underwater and you're hearing this very different music. So, yeah, it's like a different part of the world for sure.
Yeah, so developed by Retro Studios, published by Nintendo, they did an extremely good job in the music with really conveying the sense of melancholy that the world has.
Right.
Like, you are alone you are traversing this dangerous world. There's some beautiful stuff in it, but also a lot of stuff that wants to kill you. And I feel like they convey that with like every track in this game. It's just really cool soundtrack.
Man, I gotta get my hands on that and listen to some of that music because yeah, it was really. It's definitely something that I would like to listen to probably on a weekly basis, just to get myself going. But yeah, man.
Yeah, there's a
All
few
right.
tracks in there that are just showstoppers. Like there's one like Fendrana Drifts is recommended by a lot of
Yes.
people, and it's excellent too. But I really liked this particular pick. It's one that you don't see that often, but I think it does a lot of explaining what the atmosphere is just in the terms of the music, which is kind of what we've been talking about this whole time.
Yes.
Exactly.
The next game is actually it's the only other time that we're gonna do 2 tracks from the same game, so we're gonna go straight to 2.
Let's do it.
Next track.
Here we go.
Next track.
Man, oh man.
All right, so Sergio, any guesses what this is?
Yes, I'm gonna go ahead and say it's Final Fantasy VI.
Yep.
That's right.
Developed and published by Square. So the first song is actually Kefka's theme. He's the main villain of the game. That was actually recommended by friend of the show Darkus. And then
Yes.
the second song was actually yours, Kevin.
Coin song. That's right. Yeah, I actually did not choose the first one, but I recognized it, when it first like, oh, it's the villain. I was like, oh, wait, it's a Kefka or X-Death. I was like, okay, X-Death is Final Fantasy V, but yeah, man, that's awesome. And it's Coin Song is one of my favorite tunes, actually of all time. I mean, just I don't know if you guys know, but actually, you guys have played in Final Fantasy VI. There is, the two brothers Edgar and Sabin, and their lives were defined by the coin. Edgar used the coin to basically give Sabin his freedom, to not be able to rule the kingdom and just be able to run wild and free. And it was a double-sided coin that had the same side on both sides, and he made a sacrifice to essentially rule the kingdom. Even though that might not have been his ideal career. So, it's a really it's an awesome story.
Yeah, there's a lot of emotion in that song.
It's
It turns out to just be kind of a pretty, almost sad song, and it's
Yes.
awesome.
And sadly, I feel like a lot of that is lost with the most recent Final Fantasy. And it's been happening for a while. I understand it's
mm,
difficult for it to continue so many years afterward, but yeah, I mean, the music in the old Final Fantasies is very nostalgic, and I would say it's considerably better than what we get today.
you know what? I have to agree. I mean, I think that it's there's a certain charm, there's a certain it's not just nostalgia. It's just this. It ages well, but it just has that sort of like just that grab on you. Like man, it just makes you. I can't describe it, but it's just a lot of emotions, a lot of like, just it's literally it's a three-dimensional piece of music, essentially.
Yeah, it totally is, and I would agree that the compositions themselves. I mean, a lot of the ones from the Super Nintendo era were just incredible. Like, definitely hold up to things over the years, and
Yes.
it's cool, And I actually had a conversation. Well, I heard from Darkus a little bit that the way we remember these tracks is actually like in almost a full orchestra, which is kind of interesting because they weren't. They were just in the Super
Right.
Nintendo sound chip, but I don't know. Our minds add so much to them that it's just cool. It's neat nostalgia moment.
Yeah, it's one of those things like like you listen to a coin song. It's not there's not a lot of instruments. It's just like very like one or two. It's pretty much one. And
Mm.
when you have something that's simple, you know, less is more. You know what I mean? Like less is more, and something like that can just evoke so many emotions. Whereas when you hear something more like maybe complex, it may not you may not have as much imagination to go with it. It's usually more about the simple tunes where you're like, okay, well, it has this
Mm.
melody, but man, you can expand on it. So I mean, that's just my thoughts.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
actually, the next song I put here because it also shows a lot of emotion, but in kind of a different way that I'm hoping
Right.
you guys pick up.
Next track.
Oh man, can I guess it?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's Celeste. It has to be Celeste.
It is Celeste, developed and published by Matt Makes Games earlier this year on the Nintendo Switch. The game itself was actually recommended by Shy Guy. He just said something from Celeste, so I took the opportunity to pick my favorite song from the game.
Nice.
Nice. You mentioned emotion. I haven't played this game, but I feel like this is part of the end of the game, and it definitely like it has a feeling of triumph in overcoming a challenge. Am I on the right track?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, this is actually the ending segment of the main story of the game, which I don't want to spoil anything, but is one of my favorite end games ever. Like really, really good, and it just the way it is. The music is pushing you forward. Like, no, I've said before, the entire game is built around you can do this, and that music is just like, yes, you can do this. Yes, you can do this. When you're going through this
Yeah.
actually really hard section, I love it.
It's definitely this tune, and there's another one in particular, but like a lot of the tunes in Celeste, it really does have that sort of like let's do this theme, and I think there's not a lot of games that do that nowadays. A lot of it has like they invoke sadness, depression, maybe like adventure, but when you have something that's just let's do this, like that's a gem that you just can't miss. So
To me, it's one of those things that don't get me wrong, and I don't want to. I'm trying not to get hate for this one. The Mario Galaxy games, in a certain way, kind of fell flat to me because I didn't feel like the orchestrated soundtrack conveyed the same feeling that the prior Mario games did, and I actually think that that's an issue that they came back and fixed with Odyssey. Like a lot of the Odyssey tracks actually do really fit the worlds and feel amazing to play, but I never really felt that with Galaxy. Even though the tracks themselves are really cool, I never really felt connected, and that's something I missed.
yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that. I have to revisit the tracks, but man, Odyssey has some really nice tracks though, for sure. I think Jump Up Superstar, man. Oh God, I won't sing it, but go ahead.
Yeah, actually, at the time, I used to download a lot of soundtracks that I didn't have the games for, and I heard a song from Galaxy 1, and as soon as I heard it, I just thought, oh, I gotta get this game. And in hindsight, I don't know why I didn't get it from day one, but I
Yeah.
basically I got it because of that song, and I do love the game, and I do love its music.
Yeah. No, a lot of people do. It was kind of disconnected for me, but I have to admit the games are fantastic, and the music's really good too. I when I think of Mario, I think of like Bob on Battlefield or something though.
Mm-hmm. Next track.
Oh, oh man. I know this one.
Man, this is so interesting. I feel like I've heard it, but
Oh,
I cannot put my finger on it. Is it an indie game?
No, it's not.
it's not in the
Oh,
game. But what does it make you? What do you get from this tune, Sergio? Like, what kind of things pop out in your mind?
the biggest one is like an old timey like a TV show kind of thing, like a superhero maybe.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, definitely. Can I take a guess?
Yeah, go ahead.
Super Mario Odyssey, right? Is it the forest level?
This is Super Mario Odyssey in I think it's
Oh,
the Wooded Kingdom or something like that, in
Right,
the
there we
Steam
go.
Gardens section in
Okay,
particular. Now,
there we go.
I just mentioned it that Odyssey got back to it, and this is a prime example of just like kind of this funky weird music to go with an awesome level that I spent a long time in this area, and this was actually another recommendation by Mal Helian. I thought this is a fantastic suggestion. I really like this song.
Yeah, definitely. It just has that like, oh man, I feel like I don't know. I'm trying to put my finger on it, but do 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 do. It feels like there's like a band in the background, and like it's
Yeah.
just pretty much like
right.
while you're like you're just adventuring, and it's just like following you all the way.
And what's interesting about it is it's really different than the rest of the game, and really the rest of what you think is a Mario song. Like it doesn't really sound like a Mario song, but for some
No.
reason it
doesn't,
fits in
yeah.
that area.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
Nice.
so that Mario Odyssey, of course, is developed by Nintendo EPD and published by Nintendo. It's a good game, you guys.
it sure is.
Hot takes with the Nintendo Jump Podcast.
Boom.
Next track.
Here we go. Mm.
So that was the latest hit by Bongo Cat.
Yo, there we go.
Nailed
Bongo
it.
Cat. Or man, Koji Kondo. I know the composer. It's Koji Kondo, right? For a
Yes, it
really
is.
classic game. Super Mario World.
Yes, it is. Developed by Nintendo EAD, published by Nintendo.
There we go. Bongo Cat.
Bongo Cat. This was actually a suggestion by our good friend Napping Rat, who originally suggested the airship theme from Mario 3, but I didn't want to scare
Ooh.
people away with that one, so I pushed him to this one.
Although that is a pretty awesome tune, but yeah,
It's an
just
amazing
kind of,
tune, but it's scary.
It is, yeah.
Uh, what I like about this particular one, and I'm sure it's not the first, but it's the first example that I can think of adaptive music. Like, so
Yeah.
now it's really
Oh.
cool when games do this thing where you like jump in the water and the music changes, or you go to a certain area and the music changes just a little bit, but it doesn't load or anything. It adds onto it. But this one with just the Yoshi bongos,
Yes,
It's
that
the
is
first
the
time I can remember hearing that kind of seamless transition in the music to
Yes.
whether you have Yoshi or not.
Yeah, that's a good point. And if you kind of notice, as far as I can tell, that's only the Nintendo games that do this.
Yeah, you see it in a few other areas. Like even Celeste has it to some
Oh,
degree,
nice.
but it always impresses me. I think it's a really cool thing to program a looping music into this adaptive thing that you enter this area and all of a sudden this extra track is added or whatever. It's
Right.
neat. I like that effect a lot.
it just makes you more immersed in the game. It just makes you feel like a part of it just adds another dimension. So it's it is definitely one of the best examples for adaptive music. So yep.
Yeah, this also threw a wrench in my it doesn't sound like a Mario game music because
Yeah.
as I started thinking about it, every Mario game sounds so different than all the rest of them that it's very hard to
Hmm.
even nail down exactly what it does sound like, even though they're all fairly like you can tell it's a Mario game, but it's not. It's really not the same style or tracks or anything like that. So it's neat.
Mhm. I think you can kind of put in the I don't know. It's just like when you hear a Mario tune, it just feels fun. It feels like I don't know, just fun adventure.
Yes. Next track.
Speaking of sounding fun, huh?
Man, I wow, I can't put my finger on this one.
I have to imagine that not a whole lot of people have even heard this track.
No, I've never
So
heard of
there
it.
is no shame in this one. Any guesses at all?
Um, you go for Sergio.
I can kind of only guess the genre. I'm guessing it's an RPG. Sounds like a boss battle. Probably not the final boss, but that's all I got.
I think it's an RPG too, but I feel like
Hmm.
it's I feel like it's like a sequence, like maybe there's like an important sequence where like a bunch of characters have to run away or something, or like they're trying to escape a castle, or they're trying to escape like an airship. But I don't know, man. I don't know. It's not Final Fantasy. It's not Dragon Quest.
All right, so I'm just gonna spoil it. This was a suggestion from our good friend Dragon. This is actually a Mario game, believe it or not. Speaking of
What?
sounding fun.
What?
Yo.
Specifically, it is this song Adventure's End from Mario and Luigi Dream Team.
Oh, okay.
So,
Oh.
I have
Oh, wow.
not played
Yeah,
that.
isn't that
before.
crazy?
Wow. Yeah. What? That doesn't sound like a Mario tune.
no, it doesn't.
I was like,
So
whoa.
this one went completely different. The game was developed by Alpha Dream and Goodfeel and published by Nintendo. I actually never played the game, but that track is amazing.
Yeah. Holy shoot, man. Like,
So Mario games truly can sound like anything.
not just fun, or I guess it's subjective when you think of fun. But yeah.
Right. Next track.
Here we go.
Jazzy.
Is it a Mario game? Oh man, I think at this point it's like because of the way this podcast has been structured by just the music that's been coming in, like I just feel like, oh man, might be a Mario game, but I don't know.
No, it actually isn't. I can tell you it's in the Super Smash Brothers series.
Wow, I am drawing a blank then.
That's actually where I know it from. So this version is from Kirby Mass Attack for the Nintendo DS.
Oh man,
Nice.
sounds pretty cool.
When I was first listening to it, I was thrown off guard by the sudden acapella tracks in there.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's like,
that's the best
what?
part. But yeah, this song actually really reminds me of the Subspace Emissary.
Oh, okay. No, it's a great track. It's actually it's another desert track, but they did it in kind of this jazzy way with these acapella tracks over it. It's really interesting. It's a neat way to take it.
It's a nice touch. Definitely.
Kirby Mass Attack was actually a lot of fun too.
Yeah, and since this song was in Super Smash Brothers Brawl, it must have been in a previous Kirby game too. So it's kind of part of the Kirby series by now.
For sure.
Next track.
What could it be? What could it be?
You know, the more it kept going, the more it went away from my initial answer, which was Bayonetta.
Not a bad guess, to be honest.
That's a good guess. Yeah.
Now, this is actually the only non-Nintendo song on this list.
It is well, so it's from The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky. It's called Sophisticated Fight, and it's a battle theme that you'll hear when you fight against enemies and monsters and all that. So yeah, it's a pretty awesome track. I really like it. It's very jazzy. It's probably my favorite battle theme track, and you know, if you do play it a bit longer, the musical sequence gets like very hyped and like you just ready to land that special blow. And there's actually a live jazz ensemble for this on YouTube.
Oh, wow.
I can link it to you guys later, but it sounds super dope and like,
Oh, that's neat.
yeah, I mean, holy shoot, man, it's. But
So,
yeah,
like I said, it's not on a Nintendo platform, but it is from Nihon Falcom and Xseed Games, which Falcom actually did port over Ys 8, so maybe
That's
in the
right.
future. You never know.
oh man, guaranteed day zero, day zero purchase for me. Yeah.
And for those keeping track, this was actually the special bonus track that if you guessed it, you would get a small prize. As I said on Twitter, it was impossible. It was there was no chance. So
there could have been like a zero. This is 0.0001. I mean, just gotta percent.
just let it be known, Kevin doesn't like sending prizes.
Hey, wait, hold on, that's not true, man. Yo,
All right,
okay.
next track.
Okay.
Next track.
All right.
Yeah, I have a pretty
Speaking
good
of
idea
jazzy.
what it is.
Yeah. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna go second, or third. You guys go
All
first.
right. Well, I know what it is. I suggest
Okay.
Sergio, you guess.
So I played the first two enough to know this one, Pikmin 3.
So it's a little sneaky. It is the mission mode theme from Pikmin 3 as remixed in
Ooh.
Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS.
Whoa.
So I wanted to include a song from Pikmin, but a lot of those songs tend to go extremely long and atmospheric. And I felt like this remix in particular really captures kind of the essence of Pikmin, even with the little guys
Yes.
like singing along.
Right.
And they do some really fun stuff, like the Pikmin don't always sing on the right key or at the right times. Like,
Right,
sometimes
right.
they just are like a half beat early and such. And I don't even know how you think that way to compose that kind of music. So I really appreciate what they did. It makes me smile every time it comes up. So yeah, Smash Bros is of course developed by Bandai Namco Studios and Sora Limited. Pikmin 3 is actually developed by Nintendo EAD, both published by Nintendo. I wanted to include this for sure in hopes that, hey, Pikmin 4 is coming. It's got to be coming at some point. So Please.
Well, I hope a new F-Zero game comes, but actually Pikmin is
Okay.
more. Pikmin is more realistic, though. I have to say, I think Pikmin is more realistic. I mean, I would bet my money more on Pikmin than F-Zero, to be honest. So.
I gotta say, the Pikmin 3 included a couple multiplayer modes. This was the mission mode, which, my wife and I played a ton of hours in that mission mode. They also had a bingo battle, which is actually a competitive thing. I would love to see both of those come back with some sort of online play too.
Ooh,
I think that'd be a
Yes.
lot of fun.
next track. Nice.
Yeah.
That organ.
Man. Classic tune.
All right. So any guesses, Kevin?
Man, yeah. The boss battle theme of Final Fantasy VII, of course.
Yep. Bear's theme.
Yeah. So I did say that Trails in the Sky was the only non-Nintendo game on this list. So Final Fantasy VII is coming. Also, we could have cheated and said this track is also in Super Smash Brothers, but now we don't have
Yeah.
to. So hooray!
You don't have to, yeah. When this tune came, I literally got on my seat, not 5 feet away, just like out of my seat, and just started. I was like on my air guitar. I'm like, yeah! I was like so hyped. Like, damn, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously developed and published by Square.
Yeah.
I heard it's a very, very good game, although I haven't had a chance to play it yet, so I'm really looking forward to the port.
Yes, definitely. And not only that, I mean, consider among some of the best games of all time, and I would also say some of the best soundtracks of all time.
It's high praise.
You know what? I have to agree. There's a lot of good tracks in that game.
Next track. Man, I've got nothing. I mean, I could see it in a crazy next gen Phoenix Wright.
Yeah,
Actually, I can see that. That's
I can
funny.
see that too. Yeah, man. And speaking of Phoenix Wright, man, I can't wait for the next game if it ever comes
Yes.
out. Oh man,
All right,
but
what is it?
well, I didn't. Did I pick this one? I don't remember. Did
Yeah, you did.
I? Oh yeah. So this one is Xenoblade Chronicles 2: More Arcane, Roaming the Wastes. So
Oh.
it's yeah, it's just in one of those. You're in this area where there's a bunch of desert, and it just has a very nice, jazzy tune, and just a bit atmospheric, and like you're like a small team in a big world. And there's actually a jazz composition on YouTube by Insane in the Rain Music. Have you guys heard of them?
No, I haven't.
No.
Oh, well, I'll send you guys a link after, and I guess I will to you folks who are listening. But yeah, they're this is one guy. He's very talented. He plays the piano. He plays the drums, the guitar, like everything, man. So anyway, yeah, pretty cool track.
No, I think you hit it with the track feels huge. Like it really, really like a lot of the tracks in this game really make the world feel gigantic, which it is. So
Right.
I think it does a really good job of conveying that like you're walking around like these, you know, tens of stories tall monsters and things, and the world itself is gigantic. The cities are all big, and I love that the music really does show that, and it's kind of a staple of the Xenoblade series at this point is this really big epic music.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a good way to go, especially when it's open world and you're trying to just roaming around and, just going to whether you're going to the next destination in your main quest or you're doing things for your rare blades. So, it's pretty awesome.
Yep. So developed by Monolith Soft and published by Nintendo.
Next track. Hmm.
Yeah. Well, you guys have a good guess? Anybody? Any of you guys?
I mean, parts of it remind me of Octopath, but not really.
You know what? I'm just gonna say it. Ding, ding, ding. You got it.
That is right.
Oh.
It's
Oh wow.
Octopath, yeah.
It is Octopath. It's one of the. I think they have 4 main like cave or dungeon themes. It's easily my favorite of them. That solo cello is just like I could listen to that track for on repeat for pretty much a day. Like it's kind of what I said about Xenoblade. Like they made this theme for a cave so large and all encompassing that it's it's going back to the central theme that we've been talking about. It's really forming the world around you, and I think Octopath soundtrack as a whole does a really good job of that. Like the whole soundtrack is really varied and just fantastic, just really good overall.
Yeah, you definitely hit it on the right note. It's just you feel so immersed into this environment, and like even whether you're in the cave or you're in the ruins, or there's not that much light, but when you're exploring, it just that sense of mystery just hits you pretty hard. So, um,
Yeah, and we haven't actually talked about Octopath Traveler in a while. I actually did end up beating it, and to be honest, I loved it. Like I really really liked the game top to bottom. So I definitely heard some criticisms about it, but I thought it was just a fantastic game. It tells the RPG story in a different way, and I really appreciated that.
yeah, it's a good change up, and I think more games should do something like this. Now there will be critics, but I think that it would be more encouraged to do in this sort of format, and maybe, uh, well, maybe Octopath Traveler 2, or maybe a different name for it. But if they make a
I
sequel,
mean,
man,
I could see it. Developed by Square Enix, Business Division 11 and Acquire, and then published by Nintendo and Square Enix.
Next track.
Man, I love that song. So this was actually another one of my suggestions. Do either of you have a guess?
Is it Cave Story?
Yes, it is.
Ooh,
Oh.
nice guess.
Very
There we
nice.
go.
It's the Moon Song, which in Cave Story you get kind of dropped into the this village, but we're exploring these caves, and it's not like Metroid. It doesn't really feel lonely or anything, but you do get kind of that
Right.
melancholy. And if I remember right, this song plays the first time you actually see the outside, and you're actually scaling up the wall. And it's notable because it actually has a moment, like you start discovering the story of this area that you're in, and a lot of bad stuff that's going in, and you are actually given the choice at this point to hop on this flying dragon with this other guy and leave the island behind, and that's actually an ending. Like
Oh.
and it even says, what happens, who knows, you don't care, you're safe. And obviously that's a bad ending, but it really it's a very poignant moment that I think that the song perfectly encapsulates. I think it's just an amazing piece of art. The one thing I want to say, this is our favorite type of game. The originally developed by one guy and actually released as freeware by he
Oh yeah.
develops as Studio Pixel.
Right.
He did all of the music for the game, despite it admittedly not really knowing much about music theory or such.
Oh
But
wow.
some of the theory and chord progressions that he's using are actually extremely advanced and really, really cool. To top that off, he actually developed the program that he recorded the music in. So he made the music program.
That is amazing. Oh my goodness.
Just ridiculous, right?
Where is this person now? Like, is he still making more games? Like, I haven't really kept up with this person.
Well, so one just released on Switch called Caro Blaster. He has a few games out there. I haven't seen anything like to the scope of Cave Story, but I mean I heard that took him something like 5 years, so I don't really blame him for that.
Right.
I mean, he created one of the all-time masterpieces and probably a forefather of the entire indie movement. So
Yes.
Good job, man.
That's right, man.
Next track.
All right.
Well.
I think I know who sent that in, but go ahead.
Really?
It's a Zelda game. It's definitely a Zelda game. Oh man, but which one though? Because I remember. Oh my god, I was gonna say, not Link's Awakening. Boo-boo-doo. It's like that. Oh shoot! What? I'm drawing a blank on the title. Oh,
Go ahead,
man.
Sergio.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So, at least it originated from Ocarina of Time. It's the Song of Storms.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, and we had to include the game. It was Darren recommended the game, and then I asked him for a song from it, and this was the one he picked. And it struck me as kind of odd at the start, but the more I thought about it, the more I thought, this song actually, it really is tied to Ocarina of Time. Like when you hear this, you get kind of transported back. Also, you could literally pick any song on that soundtrack and it would have worked. But
Yes.
I actually liked the pick. Who'd you think suggested it?
It's actually Danny, a friend of mine that mentioned on the podcast. I'm sure he loved it.
Yeah. Ooh, there we go.
All right, shout out to Danny.
Boom. Shout out to Danny.
So yeah, obviously Nintendo EAD, published by Nintendo.
Next track.
One of my favorite NES songs, and I'm hoping this game shows up on the service.
Oh,
Yes, it has to. It's a classic in more ways than one.
is it The Legend of Zelda 2?
Yep, yep.
There we
Zelda
go.
2.
There we go. Very
Uh,
good.
I could have picked a couple songs from this game, and actually I didn't. This was sent in by again by Mal Helian, who has amazing taste in music, by the way. But developed by Nintendo R&D 4 back when that was a thing, and published by Nintendo. You know, this game gets a lot of. It's kind of the black sheep of the Zelda franchise in that it's very different than the rest of them. It was, you know, it was kind of commonplace for the second game in a series to be very different than the first back in that time. But this one in particular, like they went from the top-down style of Zelda to the side-scrolling adventure game. But to this day, I mean, it it hit me in a right place when I played it originally, which was when I was like 4, right? But
Oh wow.
even playing it
Dang.
now, I still enjoy this game. Like it plays really well. Like Link has this tiny sword that you have to get really close to things, but I think the controls really set what you think of Link as, like the downward and upward sword thrusts that he has even in the Smash games at this point came from this
Yes.
game. So
Dang,
it's just kind of incredible to I still like playing it. I go back every year or two and boot it up on my 3DS.
yeah, it's awesome. I mean, and yeah, I hope it comes out on the Nintendo Switch Online, or part of the NES Classics catalog. So, I personally have not played it. I have seen footage of it, but man, like, it would be a nice, definitely be a nice gem to play.
Yeah, and so the next game is actually, in my opinion, one of the best chiptune style. You know, the 8-bit style, although it's more than 8-bit, but
Right.
that style of game song ever. So I'm definitely had to include this one.
Next track.
Hmm.
Nice. I know it for sure.
I don't know for sure.
Kevin, have you played Shovel Knight?
I have played Shovel Knight. Oh my god, it is Shovel Knight. Holy shoot.
Yeah.
It's been like 5 years since I played that game though.
Yeah, it's
so
been a minute, huh?
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. Oh my god, I was trying to think of what it could have been. Like, man.
That game was very much trying to pay homage to the old games, and even with the soundtrack now, there's no way you could ever recreate that on an NES. But the way it sounds, the way it feels, is perfect. So
Yeah.
I just like listening to it. That track is fire.
I remember like when I was about to beat the game and just the last boss, like, oh my god, like I'm trying to, like, I was trying to figure it out. But man, it's a I still have to play the expansions. Like, what do you guys think about the expansions for Shovel Knight? Or they're pretty much like standalone games, right? So
Yeah, they're very different. Very good though. So I actually liked Plague Knight a little bit better than the Shovel Knight
oh yeah.
even. And I know that's kind of a uncommon thought, but I really liked the way Plague Knight controlled, and just the kind of difference on the format I thought was really good. Shovel Knight, developed and published by Yacht Club. So that actually brings us to one more song. So last one.
Last track.
Open your eyes.
Wow.
Whoa. Yeah, that's what a good way to end it. Just wish I knew what it was. Damn it.
Sergio.
Yes, so that was Breath of the Wild.
Oh my goodness. How could I forget? Do. Which tune was
That
it
is
for
the
a
main
cutscene?
theme. It was the one that they included in the first ever trailer, the Open Your Eyes trailer.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because like I honestly I probably watched that trailer like one or two times and that was it. Like I was just
And it does not show up that much in the game. Like it is
right.
there, but that game is so sparse musically anyway that
I
Yes.
wonder I wonder why they did that. What was the decision behind it? Because like yeah, I was like man, I
probably because they didn't want you listening to da 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 la, la for like 100 hours.
yeah, but I mean, there's certain parts in the game where like you could include that music. I would think, but
They
that's
typically
cool.
did in like in the story cutscenes, which there are like 3 or 4. Like there's not that
Right.
many, but
Right.
I mean, typically you'll hear that theme, and there's a couple other main ones that pop up. But honestly, there's just I love what that game did with music, because there is music in the world, like you do hear it. It's just done very subtly and very coyly to like the really slow rendition of the Temple of Time when you're near the Temple of Time, and things like that. And then it has this amazing impact when you get near one of the dragons, or you get into Hyrule Castle, and you have these amazing musical tracks that just come out of nowhere. So you've been mostly quiet
Hmm.
the entire game, but it doesn't feel jarring. It just feels like, oh no, here we go.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think, like personally, I think what that game did a lot of things really right. But maybe the most impressive thing is that they put the castle like directly in the middle of the map and made it so you can almost always see it. So it's almost always like calling to you, but you're kind of scared of it. And then when you go there, it's got this amazing music that I kind of wanted to include on this, but I think the main theme worked better. It was actually a suggestion by Mao.
Man, shout out to Mal Hillian, man.
Yeah.
That castle, you could think of it as like your goal, like whenever because you're always gonna see it. It's like, okay, well, that's my reminder. Like I have to go to the castle. I have to go. And depending on where you are in the game, I mean, well, unless you're a speedrunner, but some people will just. It's like it's always there, and yeah, just even when you're like far away, you can still see a glimpse of the castle, and it's just.
I still remember the first time I rushed it. I had something like 6 or 7 hearts. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go try it. And
Nice.
ah. It's not the most inviting place in the world. So what'd you guys think?
Man, we went through a lot. I think it's a really good, well-rounded collection of music. I think maybe we could have had some Mario Kart music now that I think about it, because there are some Super Mario Kart tunes that I really liked, which I wish I should have included at least one, but oh well.
No, apparently we think Mario, Zelda, and RPGs have good music. So again, breaking news, guys.
Yeah, I should. I mean, maybe an F-Zero one, but I really am partial to the RPG music. Like,
it's part of those games in a way that it really fuels a lot of the story that they're trying to tell with text and sprites most of the time. So
right.
It almost has to achieve a lot of the world building for the game, and to be honest, it does a great job at it. What do you think, Sergio?
Yeah, we had a good first run with our music episode, and we're definitely going to be doing more, so keep sending us your songs. We're not really sure when, but we want to make this like a constant thing, so we're definitely always open to receiving music suggestions from everybody. And with that about does it for episode 13 of this podcast. If you like this episode, if you thought it worked, if there's anything you wanted to change or any suggestions, definitely let us know. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We are there as @NintendoJump. We also have a Facebook group that you can join. And like we said, we're open to any comments, also any topic ideas that you may want us to talk about. You can contact us also via email at NintendoJumpPodcast@gmail.com. Definitely send us anything you have in mind. We also want to ask you that if you could please leave us a review wherever you listen to your podcast. That would really help us out. It's going to increase the visibility of the podcast so that more people get to listen and enjoy as well.
Hey guys, I also want to say definitely keep an eye on our Twitter in the next few days. We actually have a big tournament idea brewing that is going to hopefully take place not this weekend, but the next one, the 29th. So definitely keep an eye on our Twitter for more news for an online tournament. It should be a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And with that, we're going to jump on out of here. Once again, this is Sergio, and on behalf of Daryl and Kevin, thank you for listening and have a great week.
See you guys.
Take care. Bye.